What up, y'all? So in this video, I want to break down where we are and let you know if you're not already using AI in your case, you're already lost. You're already behind. And I'm saying that in a general standpoint. There are going to be absolutely exceptions to this claim that I'm making. But I 100% stand behind it generally being the status quo moving forward. I don't know when you're going to watch this video, depending on, what, if it's soon after I posted, as of, what is it, March 10th. So I don't know, I might post it, in a couple of days from now. It might be posted March 15th, March 12th, who cares? If you are in 2027 watching this video, if you're at the tail end of 2027 watching this video for the first time, and you haven't already used AI with your situation in some way to help you formulate your situation, you're already behind. And I'm gonna show you why. See, I'm making a bold claim, and I'm making a bold claim because I've made bold moves, not only in my life in general, but I've made bold moves in my own case with nobody's help, specifically in the beginning of my case. But I did have help along the way, working with pro se consultants. I did have a consultation with a lawyer here or there at the beginning, but I didn't really have like a mentor or a guiding person. I just took what I can get. And I also used watching YouTube videos, watching other court cases, and then using AI for the organization, the filing, the strategy. And if you ain't doing that, you already lost. You already lost. But let's watch this. This just dropped. That's what I'm trying to tell you. You already lost if you ain't doing it. This just dropped. This just dropped a day ago. Bloomberg Technology, right here, a day ago. Harvey adds AI to agent builder for law firms. Why is this a big freaking deal? And they're not the only ones doing this. Let's listen.
What's so interesting is about the human in the loop, the oversight, the control. How do they maintain that when you're leaving AI agents to go and do work for multi-step processes?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here also for Legal Week, which has basically all of the legal tech industry in New York for one gathering. The way that we think about it is in law, it's incredibly complex and it's multiplayer. And so if you're building this agentic system that is kind of the infrastructure for completing legal work, you need it to be able to actually interact with all of the different specialized agents to do that task, the multiple law firms working on a project, and the Fortune 500 that is thinking about buying another company or involved in a litigation or something like that. And so it's a really complex process of integrating with all the correct data, having the humans in the loop when they need to be, and handing off between the different experts that are specialists in that particular domain.
Let's talk about your specialization and the fact.
That was a lot that he said. So let me just basically simplify it, because I know somebody watching this probably understands exactly what he said. And then there's somebody watching this that's like, okay, well, what does that really translate to in real life? In the nutshell, they are being very careful and cautious about how they're using AI within the data they already have. But the fact is that they're using and embracing AI with the data they already have. And then they're using very specific types of people who have expertise in certain types of law in order to help either train or organize or test these workflows and these processes with how they're building the foundation. So the answer, whether or not they're using AI, that's neither here nor there. They are using AI. It's just how. See, the what's no longer as important anymore. It's how. And as a strategist myself, I always tell my team, and I tell clients, I tell people that I teach, I say, listen, yeah, we know where you want to end up, and we know what we need to use, but how we get there makes a huge difference. People underestimate the how because they want to get where they want to go so bad. But by the time you get to that destination, can you even enjoy it? You don't wear yourself out. You tired. You tired. Some people die of exhaustion the moment they get to that island, coming off that boat in the middle of the ocean that they had to row or do whatever they had to do to get to that island, to get to safety. And by the time they get there, they die of exhaustion. I'm just using a metaphor, but it happens.
That you have all these integrations and have such a wide scope of legal companies you're already working with. Because look, the age-old criticism is you're just a wrapper of GPT or whether it's Anthropic. You're agnostic to them.
And what she means by you're just a rapper, because we ain't talking about 50 Cent and T.I. right now, y'all. We ain't, you know what I'm saying? We ain't talking about Drake and Kendrick Lamar. You know what I'm saying? We talk about rapper, meaning your program, your app is just basically we're built on top of something else that's already working. That's what you mean by rapper. Your app, what you have, is built on top of something else that's already working. That's what she means by rapper. And so that's a term that in the tech world a lot of people use in terms of calling like how do I say, defining things, giving it some type of label. If ChatGPT is the water, then the plastic covering of the water is the wrapper. Just the wrapper. You're not the water. You're the wrapper.
The models underlying. How are you making yourself so necessary for the legal profession?
Yeah, the best way to think about this is in these incredibly highly regulated industries, the work that they have to do is very complex, and all of the data is in all these different silos, right? And again, it's multi-party and collaborative. And so what you need to solve is which model is the best for this particular part of a task? How do you route that to the human? And then what's going to become really important is how do you actually review all those outputs and evaluate them for accuracy? If you think about what's going to happen in the next 10 years, think about how complex an international merger is going to be, right? Now that we're using AI.
Founded in 2022. It's 2026 as the making of this video. Founded 4 years ago. Already valued at $8 billion. I'm trying to tell y'all, if you are not making the adjustment and you are looking to seriously win your case, save your children from obstruction, from racketeering and trafficking. And yes, I'm calling all of it. I'm calling the family court system, all of that stuff. From abuse, from kidnapping. If you're trying to save your kids from that, you gotta fight against this moving forward. And if you ain't using this, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Now, don't get me wrong. You ain't in it alone. That's what I'm here to teach you. I'm here to teach you, show you the ways. You know what I'm saying? I'm here to show you the ways, at least the ways that I know, what I got. You can take it how you want to. Your mileage will vary. But I'm telling you, if this don't set you up to understand and let you know it's a wrap, see, I can't help you understand the solution or a solution if you don't even understand what the problem is or the pain is. What is the pain? You missing your kids. Your kids are being abused. The system is corrupt. It's cheating you. It was set up to be rigged. I was listening to a Warren Buffett speech today. For those of y'all who don't know who Warren Buffett is, look him up. And I was working out. I was at Planet Fitness. Nah, I'm not at LA Fitness, but at Planet Fitness, y'all. You know what I'm saying? But I was working out, listening to Warren Buffett, and I mean, it's amazing how much he was speaking on poverty, like how poverty is it's a choice to a huge extent, and it's a trap as well too. And man, I mean, what he was saying about basically understanding you are the 5 people around you. I mean, you've heard all this stuff before, right? You've heard all this stuff. But at the same time, he said it in his own speech. The system is rigged. This is a billion, maybe $1 trillion, you know what I'm saying, investor. And he said, it's rigged. Okay, now what you gonna do about it? It's rigged. And some of y'all can say, well, that's the white man and he's rich and da-da-da-da. Y'all don't know Warren Buffett then like that. Yeah, he's rich. Maybe he's entitled in some ways and some things. It's not entitlement when you deserve it. When you that shit, you that man, you deserve it. That's not called entitlement. That's not called entitlement. I've heard him say some very humbling, down-to-earth things to be one of the wealthiest people in the world. In the world, he said some humbling and down-to-earth things to be wealthy and old. I don't know his personal life and if he's perfect, but for him to say the system is rigged, so I'm trying to share with y'all that if it was rigged before we had AI, where is it going to be now moving forward?
to produce more products, to produce more MSAs, more contracts, et cetera. Reviewing those, honestly, in 10 years, I think you can't do it. A human cannot do this without AI systems that can integrate with everything else.
Winston, I want to hold you to this to be succinct. This is a tool that makes a practicing lawyer more productive and better at their job, or it is a tool that in the future displaces the role or function of certain team members within a legal practice?
Yeah, the best way to think about this is task automation, and I think it will always be task automation, right? So if you think about like a very complex fund formation that involves 50 LPs or something like that, there are certain tasks like doing comment memos or something like that that are going to get automated away. But a lot of the high value is that strategic advice on top of those tasks, right? And so as these tasks get automated, the job of a lawyer is just going to level up over time.
I ask you that because one of the show's biggest fans, my father, is almost certainly watching, who has more than 3 decades of practice in English and European law. And I remember as a kid, the whole billable hours thing, right? You know, lawyers across the world used to scan barcodes for 15 minutes of work.
Yeah.
Man, if that ain't some of the most BS, milking the cow. I was milked in my case by 2 lawyers. I was milked, a lawyer and a law firm. And for me to see those invoices and line items for stupid stuff, for stuff that I'm doing with the AI, like that, stuff you gonna learn if you keep watching this channel. And I was billed for each and every individual thing. And then they just made up stuff. I'm like, yo, it's evil. Evil. And then when I challenged it, guess what they did? They moved it, the firm that I challenged, Cordell's the firm that I challenged, and then they moved it to their, basically it's like the Watcher watching the Watcher. They moved it to their Department of Investigation and basically said, no, all the billing that we did was credible or reasonable or whatever terminology that they use. And I'm like, nope. If you were saying that to a father, a pro se litigant who was not using AI and using the best models at the time, maybe you would get, but nope, no way. And I saw all those line items. So yes, they bill for every single thing. That's something else I'm gonna show you right now. Like, I already know some lawyers gonna hate this channel. I know some mothers gonna hate this, some men gonna hate this channel because they don't want their secrets given away. Why? Because they benefit off of it. And I don't care no more. I don't care no more. If it's not defamation of character, if you're speaking the truth. So I'm not here to defame anybody. I'm here to spit facts. Because what I learned in all my proceedings, like, I'm new to this. I'm new to this. I'm about 2.5 years in the game. So I'm new to this, but I'm not new to this. What do I mean by that? I'm not new to legal confrontation. I'm not new to filing documents, writing contracts. I'm not new to that. I'm new to the family court version of systemization, how the system works. But I've been in systems and I built systems. I build systems for a living. It's what my company does. But I never understood the family court system until now. And all this documentation that he just mentioned, y'all need to peep that. MSAs and all this kind of thing. All these in the legal, in the family courts that they push, it's paperwork pushing. Paperwork. It's a lot of paperwork. And this AI changes all that. It changes all that. Because at first they were charging you by having to write that paperwork. And they can kind of justify it, right? By saying a human is doing it, right? Because remember, there was one time that they were writing with a pen and a pencil. Then they started typing things out. So it did change. Just like music changed. Tapes, CDs, streaming. They have to change the regulations behind it, right? How they measure it. It changed. It's changing again. It's changing again. This is going to be very shocking and surprising how they build moving forward and how they're able to compete with the tools like a Claude or a Chat GPT. I should just say Claude, but like a Claude or a Chat GPT, where what he's saying right now, you can do a lot of that in Claude. Now, they might have domain specifics and they have this other UI and other things that are, but I'm telling you right now, you don't need their tools in order to do what you need to do with the AI. You need to use the best model and you need to use a Claude or a Chat GPT. I mean, I hate to say it is what it is. I've tested it. I've battle tested this stuff. I've been through it. I know what works and what don't work. You can do whatever you want to do. I'm telling you what works and what don't work. If you're using Gemini right now as the main, like your draft writer and the main tool you're using for your AI, you hurting yourself. If you're using ChatGPT as the main tool that you listen, I'm not involved with Anthropic. They ain't paying me a dime. I can care less about that. I care about winning. I care about winning. Whatever tool it is, what is the best tool? I need to get there. I want to win.
Really interested, therefore, for how you price this. You know, I think you guys run a subscription-based model, right, which can also be priced depending on the volume of use of any customer. But that's the debate. Where's the value?
Yeah, exactly. So right now, that is how we do all of our pricing. Over time, what we're starting to do a lot more of is how do you do custom build for a lot of different customers? And the reality is doing these custom builds, these forward deployed solutions, is with how good the coding models are getting, a lot stronger gross margins, right? And so a lot of what we're starting to do is we'll work with like a large bank or private equity or telco and a law firm that's partnered with them, and we'll actually redesign or transform how they deliver those services entirely, right? And that we are going to price much differently and probably closer to how do the outcomes work and how does consumption on top of that work.
You've got some heavyweight investors, Sequoia, KP, A16Z, GV, the list goes on. They want to hear about how you're able to monetize this. When someone is sat within the innovation part of the legal business and they're like, do I do a Claude plugin? Do I do Harvey? Do I keep with LexisNexis? What's your answer?
Yeah, the best way to think about this is everything else out there is a point solution. And what we're building is a platform, right? And with that platform, you have all of the integrations, you have security, you respect ethical walls, permissions. We grab the correct data, so we ground it in truthful data instead of bad data that is going to give you a bad answer. And as this scales over time, you really just have to outrun these model providers that are trying to build the general system, right? And the bet that I have, and I'm very confident in my team's ability.
But see, here's the thing. He just said the model providers that are trying to build a general system. That's why I keep telling you about Claude. For those of you all who don't understand why I keep saying it, that's why I keep telling you about Claude. They're not just building a general system. Claude, nobody knew about Claude except me and a handful of tech nerds. Why? Because they weren't building a general system. They were building a very specialized system. It was really meant for developers and coding. Then they realized they got really good at analysis, which then made sense for them to go into financials and law and really get more specifics with that. I have used ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, DeepSeek, all of them. The best analysis I've ever gotten and the best documents I've ever written came from Claude. Every time, hands down. Every time, hands down. Did ChatGPT and Gemini see things that Claude didn't see? Absolutely. They will all see things the other one didn't see. And sometimes they'll just be flat out wrong. But that's why you use the other ones as if they're also specialized lawyers or specialized brains or specialized workflows or thought processes, as a specialized tool. But I use Claude as the main driver, and then I use the other ones around it. Why? Because as of today of me making this video, it works the best. When something else works the best, I'll go over there. I don't have no loyalty when it comes to progressing using an AI model. Why? Because these AI models, one, I'm paying for them. Two, they've trained their entire system on us human beings, on what we've given them. We ain't give them permissions in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? So not only am I paying, but I also realized the game. When you were doing the free stuff, they were training all their data on you. For free. You were the product. So I don't have no loyalty to an AI model. I want the AI to have some ethics and morals, but the reality is they've all done some egregious stuff. All of them. I don't have time, man, nah, man, I need my daughter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need my daughter. My daughter needs her daddy. She needs me. She ain't got no idea what's happening to her right now. She has no idea, and that's a fact. That's a fact. She has no clue because she's not even 4 years old yet. She's about to be 4 in a couple months. She has no clue what's really happening to her. When she gets older, that's when things will start to make some more sense. Right now, she has no clue. I can't even imagine what she's going to do when she sees me again. I haven't seen her almost a year. Over a year. And the last time I saw her, her words when I was dropping her off to her mama was, Daddy, I want to stay. Because she didn't want to leave me at the time. I only get 6 hours and we'd be having fun. And she was like, Daddy, I want to stay. And I had to drop her off. That was the last time I saw her before they pulled the shenanigans at the custody trial and took her away from me and said I could only see her if I go to a place called Safe and Sound, made for neglect, abuse, and domestic violence, a facility to be babysitted. And I wouldn't do it. Y'all already made me meet at a police station when there was nothing on the case that said that we need to do this. I said, no, I'm not doing it. I'd rather go take their improperly ordered hair test, pass that test, and then that way it would trigger my parenting time where it's unsupervised. I don't need the mother. But currently, as of today, the mother's still playing games and still committing parental alienation and gatekeeping, violating the order, even after I passed the test. That was improperly ordered. Passed it with flying colors. 90 days, no nothing. And it's still not good enough. So that's how the goalpost keeps moving. If you know anything what I'm talking about. And I got facts. Like I said, I'm showing you facts. It can't be defamation of character. You're not defaming somebody's name. You're not misinterpreting the events if you actually have the facts.
Ability to deliver on this is we can race faster in the legal vertical than they can generally.
So yeah, I wanted you all to see that. And look, this is called Thomas Reuters. If you've never heard of it, look it up. But they are a competitor of Harvey. And they have these products called Co-Counsel, Westlaw, and Practice Law. These are very popular, and they're not cheap products that are very specialized, as what he was saying. Platform has all the legal specialties, right, categories, and they have all the access to the information, the data, as well as some AI integration into it as well too, right? So that's what this is. Westlaw right here, very popular. Here goes Harvey. This is Harvey. I'm sharing this with you because I'm letting you know these lawyers are going to catch up. These lawyers weren't using AI that much in the first couple of years. That's why they were probably shocked the way that I was filing. Like, I don't have no lawyers, and I'm filing. These lawyers, whether they like me or not, I know for a fact they hated the fact that I knew how to fight back. That's because it's unusual. It's very unusual to fight back, and then to fight back using their own procedures, using their own formatting. It's very unusual. So I just wanted to share that with you in terms of understanding that we are here now. Now let me get to the meat and potatoes, and then we're going to get out of here. All right, now we're in the thick of it, okay? And I want to share this with you because I think that the 10 people who watch this, because you know it's a small channel in the beginning, but I think that the few people who do watch this are really going to be able to take advantage of this. Like, literally be able to say, oh, wow, I've never seen it like that. I didn't know you could do that. You could do that? Yes, you can. And it doesn't cost you a lawyer. I'm not saying you don't need a lawyer, you shouldn't get a lawyer. I'm saying doing this doesn't cost you a lawyer. But I promise you, your lawyer is going to be using the stuff that I just showed you earlier to do this and charge you a lot of money for it. So it's up to you what you want to do. But what you see right now is my case records. You can call it docket records or docket entries, right? Or case entries. I don't know what the terminology is in your jurisdiction, but I'm just giving you the overall. These are terms that are used to kind of describe this information. All the details of the case. It's your file. Whatever that's called, you need to ask for it. There's a way you can request your records, and you need to do it however they tell you to do it, that formality, so that way you can get your case records. And then what you do is you throw it in Claude, okay? You throw it in Claude, and you use whatever the best model is at the time. I repeat, you use whatever the best model is at the time. At the time of this video, the best model is Opus 4.6 with extended thinking. Those of y'all who are using this middle model Sonnet, I love Sonnet. It's really great. It does what it needs to do. It's cheaper than Opus, but it is not the best. That's the reason why it says most efficient for everyday tasks. This says most capable for ambitious work. Do you think the work that you're doing is not ambitious work? I'm just saying. Do you think you don't need to use the most capable? Do you think the lawyers and the magistrates and the court reporters and the prosecutors and the referees and the clerks, do you think all these people are trying to help you for the most part? Do less work? Do easier work? No, you're doing ambitious work. So you need to use the best model. Right now it's 4.6 at the time. You take that document, you toss it into Claude. Now, the way that I do it more specifically to give y'all a little bit more game is I connect it to a folder on my computer. I have a folder on my computer. I have a folder called legal. I just call it legal. It has all my legal stuff. I just keep it simple. And in my legal folder, I have subfolders to have things categorized. Guess what? I didn't have to do that either. Claude can do that for me. Claude did it for me, right? It made the folders and put all the documents inside the folders. So you can make one main folder, you give it access to that folder, and then you can decide whether or not you want to add other connectors to it and things like that. But for the sake of this video, these are not relevant for that for the most part. You just really need to give it a folder. But the other part that's relevant is I like to connect it to a project. I'll make another video for what projects are, but basically they are containers within inside of the Claude chat, just like a folder. It's like a folder, basically. So I mix it with that, and then within that folder, it's in the cloud. So think of it as a cloud folder that you put up your documents. So I have all my court documents, right? All my case documents, court documents, evidence, everything. I have it in the cloud within Claude in a project, but I also have it on my local computer in a folder. And you mix both of them together. I mean, y'all don't know how much this excites me, but I use this to do other things. It's just fortunate that I can use this for this. But you combine both of them together, so you're combining the cloud combined with your folder on your computer. And you know what else I did too? Just to add more context to it, just to give you a little bit more juice. If you are emailing the other parties, right? If you're emailing, guess what you can do? Connect your Gmail. Now you have a third source, a third data point, right? So you have your cloud storage, your project, you have your folder on your computer, and then you have your email or your Google Drive. Maybe you have your documents in Google Drive. I stored all of them. I have, my email communication with all the parties. I store all my documents in Google Drive. I also put them in Claude. You know what I'm saying? I'm just letting y'all know. You drop that those case records right inside of here, or you can put it in the folder and tell Claude what the name of the folder is, and you don't have to even drop it in here. You don't have to. Put it in the folder, tell Claude what the name of the document is. It'll look at it, and then say, hey, create a spreadsheet for me. Be specific. Say an Excel file. Say an Excel file, and watch what happens. Watch the magic. Make sure you use Opus 4.6. Watch the magic. So that's what you see here. Now, this wasn't my first go round. This was me refined. This is a refined version that I went back and forth with Claude. Saying because there were some things I had to update. I wanted to redact some information. I wanted to get some categories, some other tabs. When Claude first did it, I only got the case summary and all these entries. Now look at all these entries. It's over 900 entries. Over 900 entries right here. When I tell you that a lot of the game of this family court stuff, now you can apply this to other aspects of law, but I'm not here to talk about that. When it comes to the family court stuff, a lot of it is them pushing that paperwork on you. Look at this, 900 entries, 900 entries. Look at that, almost 1,000 entries. The last date, 2/27/2026. That's the last date right there. Look at the first date. Right here. 4/5/2023. It's been about 3 years. 3 years. And almost 1,000 entries within 3 years. Come on, you should be flabbergasted. I've never had this amount of entries for anything else in my life put on me. For anything. I'm 38 years old. Not one time in my life, besides, government surveillance and all other stuff. That's another topic for another day. But not one time in my life have I had this many entries. This is absolutely crazy. But this lets you know I'm giving you my own experience based on the facts, because we don't do feelings, based on the facts, because the court doesn't want truth. They want proof. They want the facts. It's not about the truth in the courts, not in the family court. I thought it was. I thought integrity meant something in the family court system. Boy, did I get a rude awakening. I thought morals meant something, and I got a rude awakening. I thought the actual literal best interest of the child, literal is the key word. Boy, did I get a rude awakening. It's not the literal best interest of the child. It's a financial interest of the courts that they mask underneath the terminology of the best interests of the child. And you can fit all the factors. You can have more factors on paper than the mother, and they can steal. They can. Not saying they will. They can. They did it with me. Find a way to deny you. So, with that being said, 1,000 entries within a span of 3 years, and I kicked this all off. For those who haven't seen my other videos, watching this for the first time, I kicked off everything. I kicked it off, okay? I kicked off paternity testing. I kicked off filing for shared parenting, okay? You see all this alleged father stuff? All this? None of this would have happened if it wasn't for me going down to the genetic testing center and testing myself. Why? Because the mother was already parental alienating. She was already putting unsubstantiated, unreasonable, illogical conditions and then moving the goalposts, stuff that made no sense. Made no sense. It was already happening. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna play the game. I've watched enough. I've learned enough. I wish I would have learned better earlier. But I didn't. But once I learned, it was like it's too late, but it's right on time. Because I also learned when I talked to actual lawyers and things that and consultants, process consultants, that a lot of fathers don't even start until years later. I started early. I thought I was late because, it was a year after my daughter was born. I went to the genetic testing because I had it by that time. I had it. I was done. Me and the mother worked together. That should have been accepted. But to not be respected as the father of the child and to be respected of having authority and ability, and all I want is my 50. That's it. You got your 50, I got my 50. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to impose on your 50, but that's not what it was. The party wanted all. How could I prove that? Because it's not defamation of character. If it's the truth, her parenting plan had her as sole custody and sole legal. So custody meaning sole physical and sole legal. I wasn't on the parenting plan to have anything. Not even when it over time. When she had her overtime, I get more time. It never ended up with me having 50. It's always her with everything. That's a fact. I'm just saying that. So that's how you can know with context that her position was never 50-50, which made sense of why I had to go to the courts to file. Why? Because if I don't go to the courts to file, I end up, one, hurting my chance if I file later by waiting too long. Two, if I try to do something outside the courts, she can then use another type of silver bullet tactic and allege, or I could actually get in trouble by doing something I shouldn't be doing, harassing her. You know what I'm saying? I was like, nope, I'm not giving her that. She already had enough trying to allege some type of alcohol use or allege alcohol use that then supported alleged abuse, but then the use was never supported, and then so how can the abuse? It's a mess, y'all. It's a mess. But she tried the silver bullet tactic with that because she didn't have anything else. That was her only thing, was to use the alcohol. If you don't know what a silver bullet tactic is, look it up. Basically, when they take any situation like alcohol abuse, alcohol use, domestic violence, abuse against a child, neglect, anything that they know the courts can grab their teeth on and say, this is why we need to interfere. This is why we need to take precaution. The mother has to just say it. You don't have to do it. Then you have to prove that you didn't do it. It's not supposed to be that way, but that's how they get you. So, as you can see here, we have the entries right here. We can see, I filed. I'll get deeper into it in a minute, but this is all the entries right here. I had Claude, after it did all the entries, I said, I also need the page number because I want to be able to cite directly the entry you're stating. So that way I'm not just going off of trusting you, even though I trust the AI enough to do it way better than me, because it was a lot of pages. Hundreds of pages. You know what I'm saying? It's hundreds of entries here. I don't have time to go. Like I said, it was a screen. You can't even scan. How do you extract that data? They did that on purpose so you can't extract it. Well, guess what? Crack the code. I can extract it. Any PDF, you give it to me. You give it to Claude. Extraction. Like the movie, Extraction. It's one of my favorite movies, by the way. Number 2 was dope. I didn't think they was gonna actually keep it up at number 2, but I'm like, they hit it with number 1 and number 2, Extraction. You know what I'm saying? Netflix would hit it with that one. Either way, Claude Extraction. So you can extract with Claude. That changes the game for a lot of us. So now I can literally go in here, I can highlight this, and I can do things with that I couldn't do with that dumb PDF that they gave me. So, and you have to request that PDF. If I didn't say it before, you got to request it. You got to fill out the right form to request, or maybe it's not a PDF. I don't know what it is for you and yours, but whatever document that they give you, you got to request it. They ain't gonna give it to you for free. Like, they're not gonna give it to you for free. Even if it is for free, like when you request it and it is for free, the digital version versus the physical version costs money. But I'm saying you got to request it. That's not free. You got to actually request it. That takes some time. So we have all the entries here. Then I told Claude, I said, hey, I want you to break down these entry types. Claude told me there's a lot of entry types. It literally said the amount, the number. It was 100 or something. It said while it kept doing the task, like it told me while it was doing the task, while it corrected, I'll break it down in a more simplified way. I was like, cool. I ain't gonna argue with you. So this is what we ended up with. It even did the color coding. So it broke it down to motions, all the motions that were filed. You'll notice the pattern. You can pause it all you want, but you'll notice a pattern that filed by Maestro Stevens. You can see that a lot. I filed a lot. You don't see a lot of filings from Mother. Do you? I mean, immediately. Nope. You see filings from the freaking court. You know what I'm saying? That's how. So if one can assess the situation and just say what the general norm is, the status quo is, and then look at mine and then look at the facts here, can't one conclude that it looks a little lump-sided, one-sided here? Or maybe it's just me. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. But I'm trying to tell you that, no. When I say Mother, I don't mean Mother specifically. I mean Mother's lawyer, because she had a lawyer the entire time. I didn't get a lawyer to the end, to the very tail end. But she had a lawyer the entire time. So you would see her lawyer on here for the motions, right? Nancy Jameson. This was the one thing she did. Look, that was the one thing she did right there, to get me to take a 10-panel toxicology test. If you've never heard of a 10-panel toxicology test, that's where they test for everything, every drug you can think of. But the allegation was alcohol. It went from alcohol to 10-panel hair toxicology test. Then it went to a urine test on top of that. They just kept adding more stuff onto it. Crazy, y'all, crazy. And then they dismissed my stuff. Look at all this. Everything. I was denied everything. There was nothing that I was actually granted. Except for my motion for transcripts. And then at one time when I motioned I pledged for indigency. You know what I'm saying? Meaning like I ain't got the money right now. Y'all eat me up here. And they were doing it on purpose. So that's how they wear you down. And so you can see here all this stuff. Look at that. All this stuff. Anything you see denied, it's the father. Anything you see denied. I try to hold her in contempt. Motion to show cause, denied. Motion to set it aside order, denied. Motion to continue hearing, denied. Anything denied, it was me. Anything that was granted, it was for her. I'm not lying or making any of this up. Here are hearings. Here are hearing results. All the hearings. There were so many things that happened that I was supposed to be notified, and they had hearings without me. I didn't know this type of stuff when I was going through it at that time, right? In 2025, in February, I wasn't aware that I could ask for all the records, all the case entries. I wasn't aware of that, so I never asked for it. I learned on how to file, motions and things like that, how to use certain terminologies and verbiage. I'm still learning and still getting better at that, but I did not understand the whole, you need to know the records. Now I know, and I'm showing you. The records matter because they push stuff on you. They push paperwork on you. They push hearings on you that you're supposed to be notified. There's a law somewhere that you're supposed to be notified. You're supposed to have some type of fair chance. It's called due process. They can't have hearings about you without you, but they do it. As you can see here, I didn't know better. Okay? So then we have orders and rulings. All here, all the orders and rulings on the situation. All the orders and rulings. Right here. All the orders and rulings, hundreds. Journal entries. These are also like basically I call them rulings as well because like it has the magistrate's order on it. More specifically, when the magistrate or even the judge. So I guess the orders are more for the judge and the journal entries are more for the magistrate. I could be wrong on that, but they're very similar. Like I'm told to do something, or I'm told that this is the thing. This is it. I'm told that in a journal entry, the same way I'm told that in the order. What else we have here? Service. Now this was the BS. This is where you have to ask. Now when I'm telling you to do this, don't just do it and leave it there. That's when after you do this, now you have your own internal document, but then now you gave Claude something to utilize as well too. And then you start asking questions. Hey, what about this looks fishy? What about this looks off, suspicious? Was there things here that they did that I should have been aware of? Seriously, you got to ask it those questions. Claude, for me, said a lot of things, right? It went deep into it. And one of the things that it gave me was, like, for instance, like the service, it pointed out was the service notices. Was I properly served? And they'll do that to you too. You won't even be properly served for stuff, right? So you got to look at these things. You got to look at these things. See all this notice sent? Why is there a notice sent, but it don't show who it was sent to? But why is there a ghost notice? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Pleadings and so I learned also that pleadings are different than orders, and like this helped me visualize how they categorize their procedures and the administrative work. This helped me see that visually, like even seeing the color coding, because I had never seen it this way. It's the first time I've seen it this way before. Expenses and charges. Look at how much expenses it is. Look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna skip this. Look at this. We're in the hundreds. Look at this. This is almost a third of expenses and charges. That's one of the reasons why in 2025, we'll say, I'm gonna say January, right? January, when my original hearing was supposed to go down, that they pulled this BS. And that's something that you want to notate and flag. The AI flagged it for me. When you see multiple dates with entries, you see multiple entries with the same date, that's a red flag. Immediate red flag. And for most of the people watching this, if you're watching this, you've seen the thumbnail, you've seen the title, whatever the case is, whatever attracted you to watch this, I think most of you all, this right here is a super duper gem. A huge thing you need to watch out for, because right here is where they pulled so much BS. Look at that. Look at that. The 27th right here. My final hearing for the custody was supposed to happen January 30th, 2025. I filed and I know what I filed, but I want to show the receipts, because I know some of y'all like, you gotta show the receipts, Maestro. Show the receipts. So right here, application for shared parenting, 4/22. This is why it's so ridiculous what the courts do. They intentionally schedule out your hearings, your pretrials, and things. They intentionally schedule them out far. They do it. There's no reason why a father applying for shared parenting doesn't get a final trial date till almost a year later. I'm talking about an original trial date, almost a year later. That's basically the court saying they don't care what happens with that baby in the meantime, between time. Yes, when you have a pretrial, you can bring up your grievances and say you want unsupervised visitation and things like that. The mother's gonna fight you on it. That's what I did. But that's not what I came here for. I didn't come here to be babysitted, to be put through hoops and conditions. Give me my baby. But it took a year for them to schedule, for them to have a final trial and they do it on purpose. Why? Because it's a war of attrition. And they want to keep the meter running and keep as much of distance between you and that child as possible, because every day you're not with that child, even though they should be looking at that as like an emergency. Hey, the child's not with their father. What they do is they're going to use it, and they know the mother or the lawyer's going to use it as, well, you haven't been with your child for this long, and so because it's been distance, we think that we need a transition period. And I swear to God, they do this. No lie. So application for shared parenting, April 20th, 2024. Then we have, let's go back to the case. Where is, there we go. Hold on. January, because I think I went too far. So many entries right here. January 2025, the 27th. This is a big date. You got to look for stuff like this. What they did is so diabolical. It is so evil. It was so strategic, and it was so coordinated. It was coordinated. It was strategic. And I have the data points to prove it. I'm not going to implicate anybody, but I can prove that this was a strategic coordination that they did, and they did it without me. And they did it so that way that they can do the final order of what they've done and then maximize the child support. It was all strategic. Why? Because they didn't have a motion. Look, here's the facts. We're gonna go through the facts. So we have service notification, mail sent, who cares? The guardian ad litem racking up fees, doing fake investigation, but then wanting to get paid for it. That's what that is right now. More money, adding fake investigation. Dismiss. What was dismissed? What was dismissed? My motion to deny their toxicology test. That was dismissed, right? Results continued. So at the last minute, mother's lawyer filed for a continuation stating a conflict of dates because she had another hearing on the same date. And it was for a criminal case for an abused child. What a coincidence. And guess what? She got it granted. Even though she knew about this case for months. That's what I'm saying. This is it's messed up what they do. So the magistrate granted the continuation, right? Here we go. And then look what she did. She added more expenses, and then she ruled on granted them the motion for toxicology. Now, why would she do that? Because the trial was coming in a couple days, and they didn't have the evidence yet that they were trying to build. Keyword is build, not find, because they had nothing on me. Mother's allegations were unsubstantiated. So what they wanted to do was get on the record that I used alcohol, not that I abused it. Not that I abused it and I hurt the child. Abusing alcohol ain't the same thing as hurting the child. Abusing alcohol and hurting the child are two different things from using alcohol. But see, they went from using alcohol and made that turn into the possibility of abusing it, which then turns into the possibility of abusing a child. I swear, this is evil, y'all. So she ordered a toxicology test. And then she had me take that test within 3 days. I got the notice on a Friday. I had to take a test by the Monday. It's so messed up. So messed up. And guess what? Not only did I have to take a test, I had to pay for this test. And I ain't had no money at that time. I had to pay for this test. You got to take this test that mother alleged you doing this, and we want to see, do you use 90 days? We want to see, do you use it? Not do you, because we don't know if anything happened to the child the time mother said that she claims she smelled alcohol on you. Not she claims that there was an issue that happened, a outbreak, a fight, nope. She said she smelled something on you. Yep. And so we want you to take this test that goes back 90 days. We don't want you to take a breathalyzer when you have the child that proves that you, no, we don't care about that. We want you to take this test that goes back. That's exactly what a 10-panel hair toxicology test is. It's 90 days. I know, I took it. And I passed it with flying colors. Okay, so we have here denied, then motion ruling, mail it to me, mail it to the mother, as they try to say. Remember, we're still on the 27th. We're still on the same day. All this is happening on the same day. So one day, all this happened, one day. Then email to the lawyer, email to the guardian ad litem. I don't understand why the prosecutor got email to the prosecutor for the child support case, even though this was supposed to be custody. But oh no, that was the time the child support was getting aggressive, because they were like, we're close, we're close. Trial canceled. The trial for the 30th got canceled. The day that I'm supposed to get the final order of being with my daughter, having my daughter, got canceled and pushed out to April. And I got ordered to take the toxicology test as well too. We're still on the 27th. We're still on 27th. Then they try to use the rules. They try to use the rules on why they can do what they do. The rules of the court. And this is, I'm like, you guys are using the rules improperly. Yeah, I see the rules. That's not the proper way to do it. And that's how you have the challenge on them using improper procedures. They'd hear more charges, more hearings. So they had a hearing without me. You see this hearing? This don't say father. This don't say father. They had a hearing without me. You can't do that. You can't, that's illegal. That's illegal. You can't do it. Then we have custody pretrial order, more stuff. It's still the 27th. I'm emphasizing the point of what they do to you. And I did not see this until later, but it made all the sense once the dots start connecting. Okay? It's still the 27th. Custody pretrial order given, still 27th. More cases, more. So all that was the 27th, right? That's a lot on one day. And how can one not conclude or infer the possibility unless you still were on the fence, unless you still were saying, no, father, you had to have done something wrong. You had to have done something that gave them what they needed to protect the child. What did you do, father? They had to protect the child. That's why all these injuries are for. They needed to protect the child. I mean, somebody's saying that right now. Even though I'm being sarcastic, they're like, no, but seriously, you're being sarcastic. I'm being serious. You had to do something. Something you had to do wrong. You pissed off the mother. I pissed off the mother? What that got to do with me having a bond with my daughter and my daughter having a bond with her father and us having a healthy, autonomous relationship? I pissed off the mother? What that got to do with anything? You must have pissed off the mother. You must have hurt the mother. What that got to do with anything? I hurt the mother. You mean like I broke her heart? I made her mad? Like I hurt her? What that got to do with the... Oh, you mean any other way? I guarantee if I hurt her in any way she could use, it would be on this. It says toxicology, right? This don't say anything about domestic. How dangerous can I be? Yeah, I yelled at her. I cussed at her too. She did the same thing to me. We both yelled and cussed at each other, but I never raised a hand. I'll walk away before I do that. And you know what's funny? Some of y'all watching this, some of y'all females, that pisses y'all off even more. And so y'all start doing crazier stuff. Yeah, so that was that. So 27th, and then we had the custody, which was in April. I forgot what day exactly my hearing in April was. Because the second hearing was I see the 14th, so I'm assuming it was that, because that was part one. I had a 2-day hearing. So I had to have and they did it on purpose so they can move out the goalposts even more. And then my next hearing was in June, right here. See the 6th? How you know? Because when you see a lot of the times you see all the same, remember I said, when you see case entries for the same date, something's up. It means something. It means something. You need to check that out. That was the hearing right there. And that's where they denied. You're going to see it. We're going to see it. Where it say, denied, my parent, everything denied, granted. Do you think that was with me? Nope, not granted. They took back my unsupervised parenting and they put me back on supervised parenting with a facility. And they did it on purpose because they knew that my child support hearing was coming up next. And child support is weighed on income and overnights and income and overnights and income. But it's more overnights because even if I make way more money than a mother, but I have a child 50% of the time, they can only go so high. I got a child overnight 50-50. So yeah, that was this is what you want to do when it comes to your case records for the lower courts, right? Motions, hearings, orders, rulings, journal entries, service, notice, pleadings. Claude did all this. I'm trying to tell y'all, Claude did all this. Claude Opus, to be specific. I don't know if Sonnet could have did it. I didn't want to take the risk with Sonnet. I didn't trust it. And even when I did it, I said, Claude, check all the entries. Review yourself. Are you sure you got every single entry? And it reviewed itself. Yes, I did. Are you really sure? Yes, I did. Sometimes Gemini will be able to do this really real. ChatGPT is not that good at this, but I don't trust Gemini when it comes to extraction right now either. One entry can mess your whole thing up. So that's why I say you got to use the page numbers. And then when it comes to my appellate process. I'm in the appeals court. So for those of y'all who don't know, who haven't watched any previous videos, I am in the appellate process. I'm in the appeals right now because obviously you can see, you know what I'm saying, based on my issues, based on my complaints, I believe are 100% validated, but I'm going to call them complaints for now, like they use the word alleged father. Based on my complaints, you can see that I had a problem with that. I had a problem with the ruling, so I appealed it. I challenged the ruling of the judge. Now remember, very unusual. I have 3 magistrates on my case. One magistrate was, actually, you know what's so funny, it's so messed up, this magistrate right here was the original magistrate for the paternity testing. And this magistrate actually had to send the mother out a warning because the mother skipped out on paternity for 3 months. But do you think that they actually allowed me to make that a point? Do you think they even cared that happened when it came to the custody and child support? Do you think that they even mattered to them? Not at all. Not at all. She skipped out on paternity for 3 months, and she lived 5 minutes away from the facility. I live 45 minutes away. And they sent her a warning. Then she finally went to go take it. After that, she's Mother Teresa to them. After that. So another magistrate. All these magistrates work underneath this one judge who denies my stuff every time. And she never gives a reason at all. She always says, not well taken. Not well taken. Not well taken. The only time that she gave a reason for her denial, ironically, the only time she gave a reason for her denial was when I filed an objection to the child support. So right here, 1225, listen, Maestro, Judge Jamali, Maestro, Judge, overruled. And then she gave a long, she's never written before. And why did she do that? Because she's trying to cover her tracks. She didn't even write a reason why when I objected, and I hired a lawyer, and the lawyer filed. He filed the objection when it came to the custody. He filed the objection, and she still said not well taken. And the lawyer said, "Wow." He was shocked. Like he thought we had it. Like the issues that pertain. Nope. We thought. Now I think he could have done a better job that he did, absolutely, but still. He was just shocked that it was no explanation given. It was none. But then when I objected against the child support, she gave a long-winded reason why the final number it made sense and why she agrees with this person right here, Ellen Leonetti. She agrees with Ellen Leonetti. Yep. Jennifer O'Malley agrees with her. She's done an independent investigation, and she agrees with her, and so I'm overruled. So yes, that's why you see I have a custody appeal and I have a child support appeal, because both of their the orders were done improper. Not only that, one affected the other, and it's obvious one affected the other. And there's a reason why. I know that it's obvious from the appeal standpoint, because look here. This is the key word here, and I didn't even know what this was to be treated as companion appeals. That's important. So the reason why I was able to appeal, because I preserved my objections, even though it hurts, and it does. A lot of fellas don't know that it hurts. All these motions I filed that got denied. Remember, I objected. Objections. I objected during trial, and I learned more now, and I'm gonna show you who I want y'all to check out in a second here. But I objected during the proceedings, literally like filing stuff, and I objected literally during the proceedings, like the day of at the trial. Now I need to do a better job of objecting the day of at trial. I got to do a better job at that in general, but I objected, so I preserved my right to appeal. That's why I'm in the appeal, and they accepted my appeal, my appellate. You know what I'm saying? They accepted my stuff because I did. At least I set myself up. You got to do that, and it hurts when you keep getting it, but you got to set yourself up, because in the lower courts, they will test you more in the lower courts because more men don't fight. It's a numbers game. Think, for every 10 men that go through, one might fight. Keyword is might fight. One. So it's a 50-50 chance on that one. It's even smaller than that when you look at the numbers. That's why I said I'm in rare air. Whether I win or lose, I'm in rare air because I appealed. Whether I win or lose, I'm in rare air because I appealed, and I appealed correctly. Now, if I lose, then I would lose on the merits that my appellate brief didn't spark the attention of the judge. It didn't do the thing. But you see, it's a whole slew of records here, and the mother doesn't have a lawyer anymore as of today. Will she get one? I don't know. I don't care. I'm not concerned with that. I'm going to do my thing anyway. But as of right now, she's pro se. And she has not replied to this at all. She has not participated in the appellate procedure. And they know that. And it's fishy. It's suspicious. You were all gung-ho on the lower court process, but now you ain't saying nothing here? Now, it doesn't mean that I automatically get my relief. It doesn't mean that, but it does mean my complaints go unchallenged by them. So now it's just me and the judges, not me, the judge's mother, and a lawyer as of today. And so you can see here also that mother's trying to avoid service. She tried the trickery of giving them a wrong address, letting them have a wrong address to avoid service. Okay? And I had to correct that. I had to correct that myself. You guys got to check up on this stuff and make the phone call. I had to call the appellate court, which is a different phone number than the lower court. And the appellate court people, they actually answer their phone pretty fast. I'm very shocked. The lower courts, it takes forever. It's ridiculous. But because this court is rare air. This is not the child court where it's I mean, how can I say? It's a muck. It's a ruckus. Like, it's a lot of, and they know it. They know it. It's like that on purpose. It's like that on purpose. This is different. This is different. Not saying that this is just fair, but it's different. It's different. I've been talking to these people differently. They've been talking to me differently. It feels different because it's not normal. They're like, is this a man calling? Is it a father? And you're by yourself? Whoa. So yeah, I had to correct the address, but the companion part, what I'm trying to tell you there, my bad for going off on the side tangent, is that they look at them both together as in one case, right? It's not consolidated, so I had to write two different appellate briefs. A brief is a long, and I'll share that with you later how that goes. But the good thing is this is all public information, so you can look this up. That's the reason why I have mother's name on there. Otherwise, I would not have her name on there. I can care less about promoting the mother. I can care less about trying to spew negativity on her name. I don't care about that. I care about spewing the facts. Because they try to hide this stuff. That's how they get away with it, by hiding stuff, not putting it in the light, thinking nobody's gonna point this out and say, nah, something's up there. But it's public domain. And so that's why mother's name is on here, okay? But you see her address is not on here. I redacted it. So for this part, it's companion, meaning that they're gonna see, hey, this child support was directly impacted by the custody. It was directly supported by the custody. So if the custody was improperly done, if due process was violated, then that means by default, by automatic, it ain't no question, the child support has to be modified or challenged. Because you can't have one without the other. You can't have the child support without the whole custody proceeding. Because he clearly was fighting for time with his child. And by the order, he didn't get it. And that's the reason why they ordered the maximum child support to $790 for one kid. Not even 4 years old yet. $800. I just rounded up. It's $790, but I rounded to $800. They maximized me because they said I don't have any time with a child. I don't have no time, which by definition, underneath their Title 4D law and all that kind of stuff, it's he abandoned the child. No, I didn't. You guys forced a situation to remove me from the child. Remove the child away from me, and then put it underneath the law. I abandoned my child. Therefore, I need to be the obligor or whatever it's called, I think it's obligor, and then she's the obligee, and I'm responsible financially to pay for this child, but I have no say-so where my child goes, who my child's with, where my child lives. I have no idea where my child lives. They keep hiding the mother. I have to fight for the address, even though the magistrate the judge put in the order, mother has to give, or all parties got to give residential and mailing. Mother's currently only giving mailing. She's hiding residential. It's sick. But this is the process of the appellate. So good thing about the appellate courts is that you can sign in to their client portal. So what I had to do is I had to contact the courts, fill out a form. They gave me a link. I'm able to sign in, unlike the lower trial courts where I have to make phone calls and stuff and send up form and beg these people. All their stuff is electronic. It's been smooth with the appellate courts. I'm very shocked. It's all been electronic, okay? I even got motion to extend my time. That part, I couldn't believe it. I didn't get anything granted in the lower courts except for indigency and transcripts. But in the appellate court, I did a motion to extend time twice. The first time it was for them. Motion to extend time. I did it because the trial courts were BSing the records. They weren't sending the appellate court my trial records. Basically, they weren't sending the appellate court this right here. They weren't sending them all the entries. And the appellate court needs to see this, along with the orders and the stuff on the files, right? What was on the record. They were late on sending this, and I believe they did it on purpose. That's my belief, that it was done on purpose. It wasn't done. It was all these coincidences and these mishaps just so happened to. No, it was on purpose. And so I filed a motion to extend time because somebody from the appellate court called me when I was at Planet Fitness working out one day randomly and said, hey, you know you're late to send your appellate brief. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm late to send my appellate brief? When I went to file and I initiated the appellate procedure, I went to the lower courts, I filed my documents with them, and they said that the appellate court would give me a phone call. Well, guess what? The appellate court never gave me, because I said, well, so what's the next, so I said, what's the next steps? I'm not looking for lawyer advice, but okay, here's my docket, here's my recipe, all that, here's my stuff. So is there anything I'm missing? No, you're not missing anything, Mr. Stevens. You just need to wait for the appeal to call you. Guess what? They never called me until after I was late to send my appellate brief. And then somebody called me from there and said, you were late. They said, they gave me some advice. And said, hey, you might want to file a motion. And I was scared, my heart beat, like I'm missing my only window. And if I don't hit this window now, I have to wait another year, 2 years. Because y'all see the time frame. I gotta wait another 2 years to get my daughter. Meanwhile, all this destruction, obstruction, parental alienation, gatekeeping, harm to the child is happening in the meantime, between time. Psychological, detrimental harm is happening to my daughter because she's seeing other kids with fathers wondering where my daddy is, not knowing that she was with her daddy at some point in time, and she loved it, and they took her away, and she had no idea what happened. She's under the age of 4. When's the last time you remember what happened under the age of 4? She ain't got no idea that when she gets to be 18 or 19 or 20, that feeling that she has of like having issues with men and having issues with authority, having issues with being able to understand being a feminine woman. She doesn't understand none of that. Why? Because her father was stripped from her. So yeah, I'm in the appeals. I made the deadlines. And when I say I made the deadlines, I mean I filed the last day it was due. I'm not advising you do that. But there were times where I made it on the last date. Why? Because I'm a perfectionist and I'm nervous just sending them anything because the one thing you get wrong, they use against you. Everything you get right, they try to overlook it. And I needed to make sure that my stuff was perfect. And I even got something wrong in my appellate brief. But when you have 6 different errors that they committed, I'll take one wrong thing. I'll take one wrong thing, and I didn't get it wrong because I was just wrong. I got it wrong because I didn't have this right here, and I didn't know that they filed and denied my motion for psychological evaluation and had a hearing without me. I didn't know that. I thought they just overlooked it. No, they denied it and didn't have a hearing with me. Okay? So yeah, this is the appeal, and I got to figure out what this continuation papers is from juvenile. Continuation paper, right? Original papers were, I got to find including audio transcript file for, yep. So, and I made sure I had transcripts. I got my transcripts for both of these. So they're trying to buy themselves time. This stuff is so evil what they do. It's so evil what they do. It's evil what they do. I'm very sure that their judges aren't used to being appealed. I'm very sure that the judge is not used to being appealed, meaning her ruling being overturned, which would mean that her judgment is unsound. And that would mean her magistrate, her judgment is unsound. They're unqualified at that time. You know what I'm saying? You don't think that the clerks and the people that work in that courthouse don't know these things? You know what I'm saying? They don't know these things. I'm just saying, allegedly. Right? Everything I'm saying is allegedly if I'm not stating the facts, okay? All right, so that's what all I'm saying is that it is crazy that they'll do certain things, we didn't get the thing in time, or we didn't do that, and it's all a stalling tactic. It's all a stalling tactic. So you have to stay on top of their butts. Like I said, I did a motion to extend time twice, right here, right here. I had to do the motion to extend time on the child support because I didn't have a transcript yet. I had to buy some time to get that transcript in because if I did my appeal without that transcript, they would have something else that they could use against me. But now that I have the word for word verbatim of what that magistrate said during the trial or hearing and what I said, what the mother said, I can then use Claude to point those statements and connect that with a rule that was improperly used, right? A rule that was violated, a procedure that was violated, a law that was violated, a law that was overlooked. I can use their words and that final order against them. And I do mean that against them because they will use everything against you, even the good things. You can give your baby a kiss on the cheek and they'll use it against you. You can call your baby a lemon head and they'll use it against me. That literally happened to me. I called my baby lemon head and the mother's lawyer in the custody battle tried to use it against me. But I shared a video of my evidence watching my baby and singing her a song, and I called her. I had said she had a lemon head, and the lawyers tried to. They had nothing. They had nothing. So is that how you talk to your baby? I'm not gonna say goo goo gaga to my baby. You know what I'm saying? It was crazy, but yeah, hopefully y'all learned something. I know it's tough. It's hard out here. It is hard out here, but you got to utilize these tools. Use Claude, then use ChatGPT and Gemini until something better comes out. And one last part is I want to do a quick shout out to Greg Doss. So everything that I'm sharing with you and teaching you, a lot of this stuff is more administrative and documentation and strategy, right? And using digital methods. But I'm also telling you to get your butt up and get out and make the phone calls, take the drive to the courthouse if you need to, do what you need to do to get access to those documents and the records that they're withholding from you, right? I'm saying you got to do that. And what Greg teaches is that and more because he has the experience and he did it at a time before AI was the status quo. So he can not only give you insight with using AI, since now he's using it with his stuff, but he can give you insight on not using AI. And also he has trials and hearings that you can watch. He literally has trials and hearings that you can watch. You can watch him. You know what I'm saying? And that's a big deal, y'all. There's not many people that you're gonna see that are pro se litigants and consultants that you're able to watch them at trial, that have a recorded version. You can watch them practice what they preach to see are they the real deal. And so he can, provide that resource for you, provide that inspiration for you, so you can see that as well. And I worked with Greg just recently. I didn't work with him during the time of my trial and during all that crazy stuff. I just recently found him a couple months ago and started working with him. And when I tell you he's the real deal, he's the real deal. And I sought out other consultants to work with as well, and he's one of the best. So don't think that I'm the only one who's trying to teach y'all and give y'all this knowledge. Yeah, I am, because I'm currently going through it. Greg already been through it in terms of the custody and the child support. He's going through now other adult life stuff, but still using those same methods, tactics, understandings, and his own skill set, and using that with other like civil stuff, you know what I'm saying, and things on other disputes per se, right? But when I say that he's a real deal, the dude is a real deal, man. Like there's not a lot of people that you watch that can really talk that talk and are down to earth. He's not for everybody. Like, he's gonna tell like it is. He's not gonna sugarcoat the truth. Me either. But if you can take that, that David Goggins type style, I think most men need that when they're going through this. If you want somebody to pussify for you, you probably already lost. If you need somebody to soften up for you, you probably already lost. If you need somebody to beat around the bush, you probably already lost. For real, because the magistrates, the judges, the clerks, the court reporters, the prosecutors, the lawyers, the guardian ad litems, I'm telling you, they ain't trying to go soft on you. They want to get paid. And they don't get paid if there's no conflict. They don't get paid if the meter ain't running. But yeah, let me know what y'all think about that. You know what I'm saying? This is my passion. This is not necessarily something that I'm looking to make a career. I just want to make other men aware that you're not the only one going through it, and somebody else not only is going through it, but somebody else is leading their own charge, leading themselves by utilizing the resources at their disposal and picking up their balls and making it happen. And it's tough. It hurts. This stuff hurts, man. You don't think I want to like break down? You know what I'm saying? I did a lot of breakdowns in the beginning. Every now and then I might break down. You know what I'm saying? But I don't break down often anymore. I don't. I started to create a lot of tough skin, a different kind of tough skin, not the YouTube content creator tough skin, and being transparent, not the tough skin of running a business, because I run a business too. I'm a business owner, and that's a different type of tough skin. A tough skin of going across the world. I've traveled across the world and spoke at conference. That's a different kind of tough skin. That's a different, family court is a whole nother level of a tough skin. Because if you are a man and a father and you're in a jurisdiction where their profit margin is influenced by how many fathers they can get on child support, it don't matter what you do and what you say or who you are, you're gonna get scrutinized. They're gonna scrutinize you. You're guilty until proven innocent. And even when proven innocent, they're still gonna try to put conditions because they want that child support. They know most likely women are not gonna pay that money. Or do they have the money to pay? Heck, men don't have it to pay, but they know women definitely ain't gonna do it even more. Even if they have the money, they ain't gonna do it. So they go after the bigger fish. That's it. If anybody tries to overcomplicate it, I think you're just doing yourself and you're doing the world a disservice. It's that simple. Conflict equals profit. All right, y'all. My name is Maestro Stevens. I appreciate it. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and we gotta do better. We gotta do better. You gotta be better. Lego the Prego. Peace.